This is like the seventh or eighth take. Not doing anymore. I'm gonna just put it out there and just be real and hopefully converse and communicate in a way to help my readers and those that don't know me understand what's going on with me. So, first of all, good day to you all, to everyone that's dropped in on this video. For those that just came across my YouTube channel and maybe you don't know me, I am Mercedes Keys. I'm an author of 19 published novels. Those who are readers know my last published work was Boma, Volume 13. That was around 2014. And so it's been about 10 years, close to or almost on the nose 10 years since I've released anything new. I've slowly tried to get myself, the author in me, back following events that took place back in 2012, 2013. But first, let's focus on Soairse. Why is it taking me so long? Why isn't it done yet? I've gotten a lot of emails and text messages and Twitter. There are some people that communicate with me there that I appreciate. And I guess the question is basically adds up to what's taking so long with Soairse. Why isn't it done yet? Why haven't you released it yet? I'm gonna take the long route because I'm a novelist. I don't have a quick, easy answer to help people fully understand, and even taking a little longer route, you still probably won't fully understand, but I feel like I should finally do this, communicate with readers. And so basically, I want to start off with saying I've been a writer for a long time. I started at about 12 or 13 years old. So that's about 48 years ago. And like many young people, every generation has a collection of young people who, for all intents and purposes, find themselves caught in a life that is not their choosing. I'm one of them. I came from a very dysfunctional lifestyle or life or environment or family. That's going to be very frank. And so I wrote in order to try to make sense of it all. Trying to come to terms with exactly what's happening. It's like I was born, here I am, in the midst of a lot of people who claim to love me, hug me, and then turn around and hurt me as well. And I could not understand. And I think it was by the age of 16, I began to question God himself because I couldn't get the answer anywhere else. And I asked in prayer, why are people so horrible to each other? Why do we hurt? And especially, why do people who claim to love you hurt you more than any stranger? Of course, we've got some crazy strangers out there, but I think you get the gist of what I mean. Whether that be my mother, father, or brothers, I begged God for insight to understand why. And he must have considered it a pretty reasonable question because the request was granted. And I said all that to say that broader insight saturates my writing. I've got a lot of readers who comment and say, oh my goodness, what you write is so relatable to me, to my story, to life, to this is what it really, really is. And that goes back to Webster Fields, the trilogy, Princess Cecilina, Gold Raven, Family Reunion, Boma, which is contemporary, whereas Webster Fields is historical. And I never wanted to write fluff when I finally made up my mind that I was going to be an author. Didn't know how to do it, didn't know how to go about it. And I'm going to be honest and say I don't have any degrees in communications and grammar and English. No. All I knew was there was something in my head, stories that needed to be told. And the reason I felt like they had to be told, because for some reason I thought that they would fix all the little breaks that were in me. And I thought the way to fix it, and I'm going to use the insight, I'm going to use what I think I understand, and I'm going to apply it to all of these little things that happened in my life. And I'm not going to give you the whole story of me, but I'm going to break off a piece of an event that happened that now I know the terminology for it. Trauma. Didn't know it. I didn't even know it until, oh my gosh, just this 6 or 7 years ago. I understood the psychology of what trauma does to a person, but it didn't have the verbiage for it. Let's put it that way. Be that as it may, I started writing. And because my head and my heart and my soul and my need was insatiable, once I began writing, once I began that rhythm of telling all of these different stories, I couldn't stop. I could not stop. And which is the case with the 19 works of fact fiction. And it couldn't stop because the stories were coming from everywhere in my head. Whether that be a blessing from the same God that I pray to, that I love with all my heart, Jehovah. I don't know where to place it, but I do know this. Once I ask for insight, I'm not going to say he gave me the gift of my imagination. Well, yeah, I am going to say he did give it to me, but it was more due to my life circumstances that caused that to be. And I always had the ability to look at something, and if I looked at it long enough, boom, a story would be born of it in my head within moments. And I couldn't stop writing. Things happen, life events take place. I found myself divorced after my children were grown adults, and I'd written all of this stuff, but I hadn't done anything with it yet. But it was written. About 5 novels. Webster Fields was written. Aphrodisiac was written. Some other stuff that I had to scratch off the list, because while I have 19 published works and 20, I scratched off the list of things that I was going to write that adds up to about 35 or 40. But I thought I have no time to write it all. So I had to pick and choose things that were close to my heart for me to want to write. I almost didn't write Aphrodisiac. In fact, I'm going to go back through it and clean it up because it got released before it was fully ready. But these are stories born of what if, meaning events that happened when I was a young girl that I took out of context and I put the what if and created a story for a fictional person who I put through what I thought if what I'd gone through had gone in this direction. And I thought, I'm going to put them through it. I'm going to be real about what I put them through, but there's going to be a better ending. I'm going to fix the ending because I believe in happy endings. And I needed happy endings. And if I couldn't have happy endings for myself, then I would have that happy endings for the characters that I created. So that's a small portion of why I write what I write, how I write it. I came across a man whom I thought was incredibly creative, and he seemed insightful, and he was. He was very insightful to the point that he saw in me a need, a hunger. I was an empath, empathetic, caring, because I believe in love. I believe in it with all my passion. I believe in love because I am definitely someone whom is drawn to God because he is love. And so despite the things that life might put us through, I believe there's a way to a happy ending. I believe there's a bright light at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel is filled with pitfalls and mistakes. And where there's a God, there's a devil, right? Who hates to see love. So he's got all of his minions that says, oh, I could use you. You'll benefit me. And the truth is, people like that only are out to benefit themselves. And so when you're not working on fixing what's really wrong with you and you live in a fantasy world, you fall for it. Because for the first time in your life, you feel good and someone makes you feel good, and you're not writing to make yourself feel good and other people feel good, and you think that's going to translate into fixing everything, and it doesn't work that way. So, long story of that mistake is I gave up everything, went to England, learned more there probably than I've ever learned in my life, and woke up the hard way. I'm not going to get into what made me wake up, but needless to say, I'm no longer there, and I'm no longer married. I'm divorced, and happily so. I hate to use the word happily following divorce because it's ugly. It's not what God intended for married people to be. But unfortunately, when you get yourself attached to someone who's not in it for the team, meaning the person you're married to, the man and the woman, when you're not marrying to be a part of a team, when you're not marrying to be the support and to be supported sometimes as well, because it goes both ways. When you're in it just for yourself, for your own benefit, and to make yourself look good and feel good at any cost, even at the cost of sucking the other person dry and laying claim and slandering and saying all the things you've done when your participation is not as great as you make it out to be. And sometimes when you're an empath, you spend a whole lot of time believing in someone that was not anywhere on the same page you were and what you thought you were going to get out of the relationship. So the rose-colored glasses were snatched off finally. I have a tendency to give it my all, make excuses. No, this is why this person is this way. That's why I don't want to face the truth. I'm going to put my all into it. And unfortunately, when you put your all into someone who's not giving you their all, they do take your all. And by the time they're done with you, you've got nothing left. So while I had to figure that out in my return back to America, there's this thing that happens. While you're trying to figure yourself out to understand why you draw this type of man, there's no pause button in life that lets you figure it out, carte blanche, right? You can figure it out, but you have to have a place to live. So you got to pay your rent. You got to pay bills. You got to buy food. Transportation is required because you got to go to work. And when you are coming out of a deep, deep, dark, ugly hole by yourself, it requires a lot of work that is separate from your writing, from your dream, from this that you built up. That was me. So simply stated, Soairse has taken so long. It's because I've had to deal with depression, devastation, unprocessed trauma. Sorry. Life has been a drama. And when you're trying to put it all into perspective, the last thing on your mind is trying to go back to something that was used against you eventually to finish the final stake in your heart. So that's why it's taken me so long. I work because as much as I love writing and as appreciated as I am by many readers for what I write, my royalties don't cover life needs like rent, a place to stay, a car to drive, clothes on my back, relocation, starting over from with nothing, literally, to what I have now. And I'm in a good place now. What's my future going to be? I do know that my focus, as I've mentioned, is my top priority is my worship, where I go spiritually. I write because now that I'm starting to come up out of the dark, I know I'm going to continue writing. There have been times, I will be honest, that I almost shut down Facebook, shut down everything to do with social, everything, closed up Amazon and said, forget it, I'm done. I'm not going to go back to that. But I got a lot of text messages and emails that were so encouraging. I couldn't do it. And besides that, I'm one of those people, I can't stop in the middle of something I've started. I know a lot of people that have ideas about what they want to do, but they never get to fulfilling them. I'm not one of them. I took a long break because you can't fill up a broken vessel. And it's taken me a while to fix what was broken. And I'm not saying I'm fixed, but I'm at a place now where I'm ready to resume my writing. So having said all of that, I hope it made some sense to you. I'm also going to be on YouTube, which is an attempt. It's going to be a slow climb, but I'd like to build a YouTube channel that might supplement my writing, that might help me to find more time to write so that I don't have to work full time. When I come home, I'm exhausted. and it's on my mind. You got to write something. You got to write something. You got to. No, I crash. I'll be honest with you, but I'm feeling better. I'm going to finish Soairse. I'm working on that now. I'm working on too many things. Now that things are starting returning in me, that desire or that passion, I'm overwhelmed. I've got Webster Field's family reunion to re-release in the paperback and update the cover, which I'm doing. I'm working on finishing up and tweaking the cover for Soairse. And to be honest, I've got about a little more or less of 200 pages to go on Soairse. Right now it's at 400 and some odd. I'm not going to rush it. And as many of you know that have read my stuff before, when I rush things, I wasn't in a place to have proofreaders because I couldn't afford it. And really, it wasn't my top priority. My priority was to get the stories out because they were coming so hard, fast, and furious. They were coming so fast. I just wanted to get the story told, get it cleaned up, and get it out and move on to the next because they were backing up and characters and story ideas were pushing. Get out of the way, it's my turn. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how things are moving in my head, and it's all coming back now. So I'm trying to put things in order. My desire is to have Soairse done before the end of the year. But I work 50 some odd hours a week. And so, as you can imagine, when you got to sleep and eat and pay bills and do everything, it makes little room for writing. But I'm squeezing it in. And above all of that is my worship, is my spiritual worship, is my relationship with my Creator and His Son. Those two saved my life. I'm not going to go into it because this is not a religious or that type of channel. But I can tell you now, there is nothing in my world more important than that Father and that Son that created us all. So with that, them being the priority, my survival, the second in place, my writing has to come last. And there's not much space for it, but I'm forcing it in, forcing space in there to get it done because I want to. And the more I can get done, the bigger the window of me not having to work for somebody else. So the less I have to work for somebody else, the more I get to work for myself as far as being a writer and author is concerned. Hope I didn't confuse anyone. I'm going to look at this when I get done, make sure I said everything that I wanted to say, because I'm really not interested in doing a whole lot more retakes, seeing that this is 7 or 8. But I think that pretty much says it all. I invite you all watching to please subscribe, comment, and I would like to hear from you on what you would like to ask me directly. My channel is going to be about, I can tell you now, my writing, my projects. It's going to be about mental injury. It's going to be about the blessings that I've gotten from my Creator in forms of friends who've given me the terminology and the understanding of what trauma is, mental trauma, how it affects you, how it doesn't just go away. And I've had to have therapy. I've had to take a hard, long look at myself, and not only at myself as a Black woman, but there's a lot of mental injury happening in the Black community. And I can't help but think of how hurt I am by it. I'm not going to go further because I start to get emotional, but I would like to make the next video about why I write what I write. Why is it interracial? Why is the Black woman, well, I don't think I need to answer that. Why the majority of everything I write, the lead female is Black, because that's where I come from. And, but for now, I just wanted to touch base and let everybody know why it's taken so long to get Soairse done. And basically, it takes a long time to rebuild your life when you're starting from scratch, from zero, from zilch, all over again. But you come back wiser, you come back smarter, and you come back careful. Will I ever marry again? Probably not anytime soon. I'm a heck of a good friend. I'll listen and help and do all I can, but that's after that, the breaks come, the breaks, because I'm not willing to let anybody, including myself, put me in a situation where I'm not a part of a team, but I am more likely find that I've got leeches and ticks and oh, anyway, yeah, I'm not ready for that. That I'm not ready to risk again. So I'm going to focus on writing, getting Soairse done, building my YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe, please, because there is more to come. The more I do this, the more I will do it. The more I get into my writing, the better I'll be. What was that movie, How Stella Got Her Groove Back? Yeah, not that easy. Doesn't happen in an hour and a half length of time. It takes a while, especially if you were broken before someone showed you how broken you are, right? But now I'm on the hill, I'm on the mend, not complete, but hey, I'm in a good place. So having said all of that, I'm going to leave it with that. Again, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know the questions you have, because I'm going to get into quite a few things in the news that interests me and otherwise. And I just want to say this. My channel will never be about the negatives. I'm not gonna, I will be frank, I'll be upfront, but I'm not gonna indulge in putting others down or being negative towards others, because everybody has their reasons for being what they are. Truly, whether it's a narcissist or an empath, everybody has a road to choose to be on. And everyone has their reasons for being on that road. And as Jesus said, he is the one that gets to judge. Nobody else does. His Father gave him that responsibility. He's qualified for it. I'm not. So what I've said in this won't be brought up again. Only thing I will bring up is what it took for me to get to this point of healing. But it was a long, hard, rocky road. That's all for now. Thank you for all of those that have come. If you comment, I thank you. I won't keep any negative comments, because I know there's some people out there that got things to say. And again, I will not indulge in negativity. Yeah. So I'm Mercedes Keys. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful week. I'm out.